Clash of Clans Podcast OG, episode 24.
Skilly beep boop beep boop skilly boop.
Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. I'm your host, Scotty827, joined here with my partner in crime, Tipdawg20.
It is hot all across the U.S. And whether it's due to global warming or whether it's due to a heat wave or whatever the reason, it is unpleasant outside if you're trying to work and mow the grass. That's for sure.
It's kind of a perfect time for the hero event.
To give
Don't you
everybody
think?
a relief.
Yeah. Oh, God, I got to get farming my heroes.
You
It's
know
an event.
that hero, the king has his shirt off, right? He wears this like leather.
Really?
I think he does. So that begs the question: when Scotty827 mows his grass outside, does he mow with his shirt on or off?
Off, preferably,
Off.
depending on the bugs.
Do you get lots of whistles?
No.
I
Well, the
would
birds.
I would
The
whistle.
birds are really, they're out there whistling, singing my praises.
Dogs walking by or barking.
Yep. Yep. The
So
whole
funny.
freaking wilderness comes down on me.
Well, and the barbarians are shirtless too in the game. That's pretty risque for a child's game, you know?
Yeah. That's 2 nipples too many for a lot of people. Right?
Free the nipple. Free the nipple with
Any
Clash of Clans.
Free the nipple. Any word on what
If
the
they
event?
can have nipples in children's games on men, then they should equally be able to have nipples on women in Clash of Clans.
You know what? And put a
Right.
nipple on everything in Clash
No.
of Clans too.
Right there in the middle of the forehead.
My barrack has a nipple on it.
Oh.
Speaking of which, my barracks have gone up. I am now a proud TH15.
Congratulations.
It was more of a...
Welcome to the club.
Normally on a town hall, I kind of jump in. Hey, everybody, it's me. I'm a town hall. New town hall. This time I just snuck right in there. I just...
Sneaked in the back door.
Yeah, well, I did it in the middle of the night, so nobody would notice.
I noticed.
Yeah.
I think I was the first one to point it out. I'm like, hey, everybody, Scotty827 is the Town Hall 15 now. Yay!
And how sneaky I was is I did it like 4 days ago.
And I just noticed, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah. Well, to be
It's funny.
fair, it was because the day that you put somebody else in CWL for me,
Oh, that's right. Yep. Oh,
that I had just went to TH15 the night before.
I did need to apologize to Chewy real quick. Thank you for reminding me. Do you mind if I submit my apology?
Sure.
So
Submit away.
I accidentally left you in because my goal was to make sure that all our Town Hall 14s could at least get 8 stars. I accidentally left you in for 1 extra day, and I left Chewy's Town Hall 14 out. So he was only able to get 5 or 6 stars. So I already sent him a DM apologizing, but I wanted to publicly apologize to Chewy since he's such a great guy. He does so much for our
Yeah,
clan.
he does.
So my apologies, Chewy. I'm sorry.
You son of a bitch. Tim.
I need a nipple right in the middle of my forehead.
Yeah.
For the
Somebody
rest
get
of
a
my life.
nipple and smack this man across the face.
Oh yeah.
So, unlike the other TH levels, I didn't panic this time. That's an amazing feat for one thing.
Because you knew what to do. Is that what you're saying?
No. I walked away. I didn't have enough builders to panic. I didn't have enough builders to panic.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah, that's so funny.
There were a couple moments where I almost did the wrong thing. But I spent about $20
Okay.
over the week. Maybe a little bit less. Just with, they had the town hall deal, and then they had a couple good book a building, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I did only offense.
Mm-hmm.
I got my barrack. That one just got done. Pet house, the equipment factory, and the lab.
So you got root riders now.
Yeah, I do.
Have you used them yet?
Yeah, I was killing bases with them yesterday.
They're so freaking amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, I keep calling them nerf herders. I don't know why.
Nerf herders.
I don't
That's the
know.
Clash of Clans name. That's Clash of Clans podcast name for them. That's what we're going to call them from now on. Nerf herders.
I can't.
Cocaine bears, nerf herders.
I don't know what it is, but that is just what pops into my head every time. It's like saying root rider is like having to overwrite the nerf herder.
Right. So and this is an actual strategy. I haven't really used it much, but using cocaine bears with nerf herders
Yeah,
is
that's killer.
very OP. Have you been using it at all?
Yeah.
And are your root riders level 1 or level 2?
Well, they were level 2 because I had that boost.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
So,
right, the 5-day boost.
and I didn't do my lab right away. That was kind of like or no, I did my lab. Excuse me. But I didn't do my barrack right away.
Okay.
And I don't know what I was thinking, but I just did my barrack 2 days ago. So I was uh thinking about doing the riders in war. I was doing really pretty good with them in the wild. I mean, maybe I had like 6 or 7 attacks, but almost all of them were 3 stars.
Mhm.
Uh, I was gonna use them in war. I was looking at it last night and I thought, I just not I don't have the confidence of them yet.
You
Like,
will, you will.
yeah,
It'll take a little time, but you'll get there.
because I was using the cocaine bears on them because, like, if you're building a funnel for them and you can build the funnel where the bears are gonna go, those bears have been getting way the hell in there.
Yes.
Like, these 2 massive cocaine-fueled cartel bastards just
Yes.
running
With
straight into the
giant
center.
nipples
Yeah, all those bear nipples swinging in the wind.
just all over the place. Are they I wonder, should I even ask this? Are they male bears or female bears? Do we know?
I don't know.
How do you tell on a bear?
What would they name them?
I guess the same. How about the Bernstein bears
Bernstein bears.
rather than the cocaine? That I
Well,
imagine that's what Clash would want in your
you probably don't wanna mix the children's bear with
with the
the
cocaine bear.
Studio 54 kinda party life.
But
Um,
but that's beautiful because the nerf herders break through the walls and then the cocaine bears come in right behind that and just, I mean, tear shit up. So
yeah.
that's a solid strat for sure.
So it's basically just switched my comp over from just modified it a little bit and was going in with, like, 5 or 6 root riders. I don't know if that's, like, the enough.
Yeah, so I'll typically if I'm using root riders, and I for a long time there, I use mass root riders. So I had 10 root riders. Oh,
10.
it's either 10 and 10 or 8 and 8. Can't remember 'cause it's been a while since I used it. After the nerf, I stopped, but I was doing 10 root riders, 10 Valks, and then I think a couple of wizards just for cleanup here and there. And then I was picking a corner that I wanted to go down and literally just releasing them into the wild and then overgrowthing the highest DPS area where they would like to go down. And then I was using the healing tome with the eternal tome. And I mean, it was hard to not 3-star. Like that's how easy it
Yeah,
was.
I can imagine. I just
Now it's more difficult, but still doable.
I basically ran it like the Super Bowler attack,
Hmm.
and instead of, like, the Super Bowlers getting in there and just smashing everything, those Root Riders get in, and then my heroes are on the cleanup almost
Yep.
all the way
Behind them.
through,
And that's the way it's got to be.
and I was still using my Flame Flinger because then they can tunnel.
Hmm.
So, I don't know, I'll just yeah, just basically the same. So, that was kinda one of my questions, what's, like, the typical Root Rider, nerf herder
Attack comp.
composition.
So you have your mass nerf herders where you have like 10 root riders, you have typically Valks, or another really solid troop to use with it is super barbarians or rage barbarians. And the solidness of it is oftentimes the Valks, which have a little more hit points, will still go down to defenses, and they're not going to do much more than a Raged Barbarian could. And a Raged Barbarian is only 5 troop space. So therefore, you can funnel your Root Riders into a section of the base with only 5 troop space per Raged Barbarian. So those are typically paired together for just mass armies. Now, if you're going to do like a Warden Walk with Root Riders, again, you have to have your heroes with them because, as we talked about in a previous episode, the nerf was to their DPS. So they do less damage. So it
Yeah.
takes them a long time to work through some buildings. But if you have your king right there, if you have your queen right there, your warden smashing stuff with them, like you got plenty of DPS with your heroes. The Root Riders are just there to take the brunt of the defenses and to break through the walls. And you'll also notice that as you're using that attack, the attacks that will fail will be the ones where the Root Riders died out early and your heroes get stuck on walls. Like that's what you'll find out happens. And so you're going to have to adjust your attack strategy accordingly to try to save your Root Riders to get through as many walls as possible so your heroes can just clean up. And then the other attack strat that I use is Super Archer Blimp. So I'll typically find a place to land my Super Archer Blimp, use all my spells on that Super Archer Blimp. So 2 clones, rage, 6 invisibility spells, take out a huge chunk of the base, and then just walk around the base, typically with 7 Root Riders, 5 healers, and my heroes. And I mean that works really well too.
Jesus.
But we need we need to go over the Super Archer Blimp together so that we can start doing that if you see the right base for it.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure it's going to work with my strategies.
It's different.
Well, only because I was thinking about this. Um, and maybe it'll work. But for me, I like to be able to be nimble later on.
Mhm.
Like, having the recall. Um, because the things I set in motion at the beginning usually go wrong.
Right, right. Well,
But
if you're spamming them in, like, not much can go wrong. You just gotta choose a corner and go with it.
yeah. But I mean, if I trade out all my spells, like
Oh, I
I was
see.
kind of wondering, I was thinking about this. Are some of are the pros using the spells to enhance or like control?
That's an interesting observation. Like, that's really high level thinking. So, I would say it's both. So, a lot of pros will use their spells to control. For instance, with the rage spell, if they're using dragons, for example, or even something like Root Riders, they will rage up a side of the Root Rider. So, let's say they funnel on one side, they funnel on the other, but they don't quite get the number of buildings down on the right side as as they wanted. So they will strategically place down the rage spell in order to speed up the right side. So that way, all of the Root Riders kind of come together. They can get through those buildings quicker. They can come together to one point on the base that they already had planned and then tome them through that one part of the base. So, in that sense, yes, they will use it as a speed up or an adjustment to the current troop comp. It's not just slamming a rage spell down because it looks like it's a good spot. And then another one, of course, is the invis spell. A lot of players will use the invis spell in order to cordon off buildings that they don't want their troops to go towards. So that may be a queen on a queen walk. That may be Root Riders. Maybe you don't want them to split up and go off to this corner of defenses. They may use an invis spell, or they'll use the overgrowth spell. But the negative with the overgrowth spell is once it's cordoned off, it's not available for the 30 or 35 or minute, however long the overgrowth spell goes for.
I think I fall more on, well, because I now maybe I'm just like off base here, but I kind of feel like maybe there's a couple different styles of play
Hmm.
where it's like the set in motion, everything like cascade right at the beginning. And
Hmm.
then there's like the get it in there and then mold it later on. Or like use the spells. Do you know what I'm saying? Like to control it versus setting up like a pattern at the beginning.
So I think you're describing spam attacks versus more strategic attacks.
Well, it would sound like that, but except for, like, you have a strategic attack where you're putting the things in motion, but betting on your spells to be able to, adapt and control later on.
So I would say a strategic attack, and the most extreme form of a strategic attack would be something like Sui Lalo, where you're sending in your heroes to a certain part of the base to strategically take down specific defenses, maybe to go after the town hall, maybe not. And then you're placing your Lalo at certain points around the base in order to selectively enter at certain times. So you're not just funneling out a corner. I would almost call Super Bowler spam. Almost. It's a little. It's more on the strategic side of spam, but it's
Yeah,
almost under the category of spam because you're literally funneling out one corner, funneling out the other corner with a catapult, and then just spamming your root riders, your Super Bowlers down the middle. Like, and then you're responding to that with watching your Super Bowlers. Okay, do they need a hit? Do they need a sniff of that cocaine with a rage
yeah,
spell? Well, then I'm going to throw it down right here. Or, oh crap, that monolith is hitting my Super Bowlers. I got to freeze it. So I'm going to be reactive, when I think your more strategic types of attacks are more proactive with spell placement. Like, they need their troops to go a specific
yeah,
direction, so they proactively place down spells in order to encourage that to happen.
and I think I'm more of an adaptive. Maybe that's where
Yeah.
I've been
And
trying
I'm the
to
same way.
and I c and I don't know if that's I've never been good at the proactive, that super planning,
Right.
because when things go wrong, then I get trapped. Like, then it's like it's so dependent on the very preciseness of the opening and getting things in motion. And now I can do it and I have a good idea. I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna funnel here, hope they get to here. Oh, this went wrong. Okay, let me take this and keep this moving here and and then and I've got all my spells, so if it gets stuck here, I'm gonna move them, through and everything goes wonky, like maybe close to what I thought. Um, but I'm usually having like 2 spells left over. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Or like a spell left over where it's
right.
like that's my utility to if this happens, then I've got this to move it here or that thing. I'm just kinda
Yeah, I think
curious
that's a
about
mark.
like the over or, kinda curious about how you see it, like
Well, I think that's a mark of a more mature player, like a better player. As you get better at this game, you are able to adjust when things don't quite go your way. So if you funneled out a corner with your Grand Warden, put your Super Bowlers down, and then whoops, one or two Super Bowlers split off to the left because you didn't quite place it far enough north. Well, then what do you do at that point? Like, how do you respond? Can you still 3-star the base, even though two uh, Super Bowlers split off? And I actually had an attack like this
oh, yeah.
that happened. I think it was this week where I did a Super Archer blimp, took out a big chunk of the base, and then threw down my Root Riders. And I brought 7, and I put the Root Riders too close to a defense which is on the left. And so 4 of my Root Riders went straight, and 3 of my Root Riders went left. And I was like, oh, crap. So at that point, my queen was with the pack of 4. So I immediately popped my queen ability, and the healers popped out. So that way, the healers could keep those 4 root riders alive. They could protect the queen. And then the other 3 root riders that went to the left, they actually carried the 5 healers with them. So I put the
Yeah.
RC in behind those, and then put a couple wizards in behind that in order to clean up behind the root riders. And it ended up 3-starring, not because I was good, but because I was able to see the situation and go, well, this is the best thing that I can do under these circumstances. So let's give it a go, and hopefully it'll work.
I
You
think
get
I'm really
better at
good at that part. That's where I
that.
think that's honestly where I think I excel. Okay, shit's gone wrong. Or okay, they split because that happens to me all the time because I'm practicing or trying new things or whatever. But I don't know. Like I'm just kind of thinking about play styles a little bit and like for me getting better, it might make more sense to lean into strength versus trying to fit into a play style that's not gonna work for me.
Yep. So, and I'm going through that right now. I have always hated dragons. Like, I've always hated dragons. I've never
Those
used dragons.
sky bitches.
You're so even when I was like Town Hall 8, whenever I hit Town Hall 8, I immediately started using hogs back in the day. So in 2014, and I always used hogs. When everybody else was using dragons, I only used hogs. All the way through Town Hall 9, I used hogs until the Lava Hound or the Pig Dog, as Clash of Clans podcast like to call it, was introduced. Well, then I decided to go with the second option. And I think the reason is because I like the control. So with dragons,
Yeah.
you never really know where they're gonna go. Like, they just kinda
Yep.
puke out on the battlefield, and they just kinda go wherever it is that they want, and as a player, I like more control than that, and that's the reason why I don't use hogs really anymore, but I still use Lalo. But I think that's one of the reasons why I use Lalo is because, okay, I'm gonna put 3 loons on this defense, 3 loons on these defense, I'm gonna release the hound here, I'm gonna put 5 minions. Like, it's very detailed. That's how my brain works. So I
Yeah.
think that's the reason why I like it. But I'm having to adjust because my super witches aren't working as well as I would like, because base builders are starting to recognize the value of the fireball, and that the fireball can get in there and take out a ton of high value defenses and buildings. And so they're building bases more spread out. Well, that's no good for super witches too, because they're super slow and it takes them a long time to walk all the way around a base. So therefore, I'm having to switch over to dragons, and I'm having to learn a new strategy, even though I don't really want to. But such is life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of my problem with the air. Some of the air stuff is the lack of control, or maybe, well, I think
Yep.
if you've got if you've got your heroes on with the ground stuff, you've got extra spells,
Hmm.
for the most part, that kind of stuff. I don't know, the last couple of weeks and talking to Ghost Knight and talking about the pro scene and everything is, kind of got me thinking, and um
So, what do you
into
think about the pro scene right now?
well, we've been talking about this throughout the week. The news was that Clash Worlds, right?
Hmm.
So we've had Ghost Knight on drama in the between Supercell and the um pro community, and then the announcement by Supercell that players that were banned, or not banned, what was it?
So there were several teams that were banned, and the reason that they were banned is because they were one of them was because they were using accounts that they had bought online. So they didn't start out from Town Hall 1 and slowly build up that account over 2 or 3 years. They purchased it from a seller somewhere, whether that was their grandma who played, or whether that was, which I doubt anybody's getting in trouble for that, but or most likely it was from an account seller online. And lots of pros are doing this, and so the pros that were found out were banned, and also their teams were banned retroactively. So if they had won a golden or silver ticket, that ticket to Clash Worlds was taken away from them. And then Supercell, I think, was getting lots of feedback that, hey, you banned me for having a second account that I bought online, which, let's be clear, it's against terms of service to buy accounts online. Like, it's completely against terms of service. Do not recommend that you do it. I've never done it. Don't recommend anybody else does. But the feedback they were getting was, dude, like, check all the pros, because everybody has second, third, fourth, fifth, 20 accounts that they bought online, and you're banning us. Like, that's not fair. So check everybody out. They did check everybody out, and they were like, holy crap, if we banned everybody, there would be nobody left for Clash Worlds. So they effectively said, look, we're going to unban the people that we banned for having second accounts that they purchased, and we're just going to say, look, until Clash Worlds, don't use them. We won't say anything if you don't, but we're just going to let everybody do Clash Worlds. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah. So at first, my initial reaction, right, was, okay, and this is initial, I don't know anything about what's going on. I thought, well, if this is the Olympics and that's happening, and all of a sudden, like the whole sports team is doping,
Mhm.
and then they go, well, shit, we're not going to have an Olympics if we kick all the dopers out. So, um, but we're going to do it anyways. Just don't do it from now on, you know? But
Yeah.
my initial reaction was based in thinking they were modding.
Oh, no, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, yeah, right, no.
modding or
I
you
don't even think that modding's a thing anymore, to be honest with you. Like, I'm sure it's probably out there on some private server, but, like, I haven't heard of modding in years and years and
and
years.
I'm fresh out of my time machine,
Right,
right?
right.
So I'm thinking like that is what it is like this, they're cheating like at the game. That's
Mhm,
just my initial reaction because it said terms of service, and I'm thinking, and then I'm asking, well, why do pros need an account if they've already got an account?
mhm.
Like I was kind of putting it all together when it if it's just that they're buying other accounts and warring with them, I don't really give a shit.
Right.
I mean, to me, like, if they're not cheating at the game, I don't really that was where, like, that was my initial reaction, like, "Oh god, cheaters."
Right.
Um, but 'cause it would seem to me that the problem really isn't them buying accounts necessarily with Supercell, it would be that, well, because okay, so some people like to, they play for years. They put a lot of money. They wanna sell their account. They wanna be done, and it has a monetary value, right?
Mhm.
If you can cut out the people that farm it up, like that, bots or whatever it is that are farming accounts or hacking accounts, if you could take those things away, then all of a sudden, accounts and the time and effort that you put into it actually takes on like a real monetary value and then probably has its own economy in like own worth, right? Because you can't bot it up. It's, only humans can really do this, yada, yada, yada. Um, I don't know. I guess I'm just like, if the problem is people hacking accounts or bot farming. That's where I think the problem is for Supercell. If they want, I just don't know, I guess, who's really getting hurt.
Supercell's getting hurt, which I think is the reason that they haven't in their terms of service is because if people can buy accounts, then that means that if I want to have a Town Hall 15 for competitive purposes or a Town Hall 16, rather than me having to take the time, possibly buy the gold pass, possibly purchase magic items, really get involved in the game, I can just pay $50 or however $20 or however much it costs for this account that's been botted up or hacked. Like it could be a hacked account that
Yeah,
somebody stolen from somebody else, and then they're selling the login information to me. Like I'm not going to give Supercell that money, so they're essentially making zero money off that transaction, which is the reason why they have it in terms of service. So my problem with all of this is why now? So obviously, it's been known for a long time that pros have multiple accounts, and let's be clear: the reason that they have multiple accounts is not necessarily to cheat, but it's because it's very difficult to make any amount of money as a Clash of Clans esports player, professionally or not. Like, even if you're a professional, you're still not making a ton of money. Like, if you win, you might do decent, but you're not like pulling in the big bucks, right?
yeah,
So the pros will do this in order to take multiple accounts up in Legends League because there are clans that will pay players if they have a high Legend League ranking to sit in their clan. That way, their clan sits high on the leaderboard. and they'll give you 50, 100, $200 at the end of the season if their clan finishes first, second, or third on the leaderboard. So there's that. And then also there are clans and clan leaders and players who will pay pros to come to bring one of their accounts and to do CWL with them during their CWL week. And so if a pro player just had one account, well then, if they can get $50 for going to somebody's clan and playing CWL with them for the week, well then that's all that they would make is $50. But if they have 10 accounts and they're able to make $50, well then that's a $500 payday for them because they have 10 accounts that they can do CWL with 10 different clans and get paid to do so. And I don't know that $50 is the right number. It may be $20. It may be $100, maybe $200. Like, I don't know how much it costs to have a pro in your clan for CWL, but the reality is it's out there. And so the pros don't really have a way to make money playing esports, at least not a good way. So therefore, they're trying to bring in more income by buying these second, third, fourth, 10th, 20th accounts and then using them to make money off this profession that they've chosen, which is esports and Clash of Clans.
Well, that gets a little dicey to me, and they're just I don't know where I fall on that because in some ways it's like, well, if you've got t it's one CWL, right?
Hmm.
It's kinda like this one person entering the contest 10 times.
Pretty
But
much. Yeah,
but then
exactly.
you've got different r because it's in clans and you're not against the same clans, then it gets a little then it's like, well, is it 10 tournaments across town the same day?
Well, what if it did affect us? So what if we're in CWL and we just promoted to Masters 2? Yay! Which is a big
Go
surprise. We
out.
started in Masters 2 whenever we first came back in like February. We demoted down to Crystal 1 and then we promoted back up to Masters 2. And obviously we're going to shoot for Masters 1. So let's say we're going for a Masters 1 promotion, but one of the teams that's in the rounds with us, that team has hired Stars, which is a big Clash of Clans player, and it's only a Masters 2 level clan, right? But they hired Stars, paid him, I don't know, $100 to come do CWL with him. And Stars, of course, is going to 3-star pretty much every base that he finds in Masters 2. And we go up against him and we lose by percentage. Like we tie, but we lose by percentage. At that point, it does affect us directly. And they were essentially only able to win because they hired in an outside influence to come in and help them promote. At that point, is it fair? Is it not fair for them to be able to do that? And is that any more fair than me, asking one of our lower accounts. So people in House of L will oftentimes bring like their second accounts or
Yeah.
third accounts. So let's say, for instance, GCBC has this Town Hall 13 in our clan. Me paying somebody, is that any different than me contacting GCBC and saying, hey, man, for this CWL, we want you to bring over your Town Hall 16 to help us promote? Like, is there a big difference? Obviously, one is paid, one is unpaid,
I don't
but it's the same result essentially.
I don't it doesn't I don't think it would bother me. I don't know why. Because okay, it could affect me. It could affect us, right? But it's like if he's only using 2 attacks, or if somebody is not if he's not in that clan using everybody's account to attack.
So what if the agreement was for Stars, and I don't know that Stars has alt accounts. I'm not accusing him of having alt accounts. He's his first name to come to mind. Let's say that he has 10 accounts and somebody paid him $100 per account to come do CWL with them in Masters 2. They paid him $1,000 to do CWL with them during the week if it costs $100.
With 10
And
accounts?
they with 10 accounts and
No.
they just trashed everybody in Masters 2. Does
No.
that make a difference?
Yeah, that makes a difference.
So it's the
One
number that
person
affects you. One
one
person's
person,
okay,
2
10 is
attacks.
not.
Yeah. Because
Why
that's
is that?
because then you're having one person be the team.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you wanna have somebody come in and be part of the team, like, build a pro roster and say, "Hey, do you wanna come war with us? We'll give you 20 bucks or $100." I don't really have a problem with that. I don't like, even if we face them, because then it's like, well, now we're up against the best. Let's see what happens here, right?
Mhm.
But if that team is giving them that guy 10 attacks, that's weird.
So what
Like,
if it's 10 different players, 10 different pro players that are paid to be in that CWL?
not a problem to me.
So, and this is where it's interesting. I don't have a problem with it either. To me, capitalism is capitalism, right? We all have fun in this kid's game. But to me, if somebody does have a problem with that and says that that player should not be able to make money off coming to my CWO clan, and I would say, well, what's the difference between me hiring them to come to do a few 7 wars with me in during my CWL and an esports team manager hiring them to do 7 wars for them in an ESL match? Like, and they pay them $100 per match to do an ESL match for them. Like, to me, there's no difference. Like, the players
Yeah.
being paid to essentially do the same thing. So let them do it. Like, why is one okay and one is not?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that way too. And but then until where till to a point where it affects like the overall competitive results. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird line, but to me, it's just if you can stop the hacked accounts, right? If you can
Hmm.
stop farmed or botted or whatever those accounts are that are not human raised. The problem is that that the accounts that are being sold are just too cheap. They should be really, really expensive. And if you can cut out hacked and botted and make it so, oh, geez, he's going to go do that, but it's going to cost him $4,000 because that's how much a farm, like that. If you can
Hmm.
jack it up, then it becomes a little different thing to me. I don't know.
And we talked about
Like
that as a
keeping the
possible
economy of
solution.
it, like
Like, what
then our
if
then our time also becomes like, or our account becomes a little bit. I don't know. It's weird. It's like it's a very, very complicated piece. But wouldn't you feel better though if like you knew, man, one day this is kind of an investment, and one day if I decided I could sell for a couple grand.
what if Supercell got into the resale market? Like, Supercell started selling accounts verified by Supercell with Supercell ID. You could buy Town Hall 16s, 15s, 14s, 13s, 12s, 11s, right on down directly from Supercell. Now, they've pretty much given the indication that they will never do this, but that would solve the problem, because then if we find that you have an account that was purchased somewhere else, well, then we're going to ban you. But if you want 10 accounts, you can have 10 accounts. You just have to buy them from us. And then what price tag would they put on them is the
Or
question.
do like a auction, do like a eBay for accounts under them,
Allow
where
players to sell their accounts
y-
back.
yeah, or they sell their accounts to other players through Supercell.
And I just don't know if that will cut into their revenue stream too much for them to even consider
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
that's a good point. The thing is it's almost like in the past before I got my time machine, it seems like if people are doing something and it's widespread, it is better to lean into the direction that people are going
Yeah.
instead of fighting it.
Yeah.
Like with modding, instead of trying to like um they try banning, but then they gave friendly challenges.
Mhm.
Right. And so like given the friendly challenges, all of a sudden you could practice so you didn't have to go mod.
Yeah. So this has real world implications, right? So what is it? In 1917 or whatever, they banned alcohol in the United States. And essentially what happened is everybody still drank anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, and they created the mob, the mafia, lots of moonshine running, like, people just did it anyway, even though it was against the rules, and so, basically, what Congress did was they're like, "Oh, crap, like, we can't ban this, or we can't make it illegal, so we're just gonna make it legal and tax it to death." And there are some crazy high taxes on alcohol, but it's legal to do, and so, therefore, the amount of illegal moonshine being made dropped dramatically because people were saying, "Look, we don't care if you have a high tax on it, if we want all of these extra accounts. We want 10 accounts so that way we can go into these other clans
Yeah.
and do these CWLs with people. You know, we want to be able to do that. Give us an option to be able to do that." And telling us, well, you have to spend 8 hours a day for 3 years building up these accounts on your own. That's not a legitimate option. So we're willing to say, okay, we'll do whatever it is. Charge us $1,000 for a Town Hall 16. Like, I'm sure that you're not making $1,000 per player off a Town Hall 16, but make it $1,000, and we will decide if it's worth it to us at that point to purchase that account for $1,000. And if you're making, $100 a month off Legend League, you're making $200 a month for being in a clan that pays you to be high in the whatever, and then also you're using the account for something else. Well, maybe you can make $500 a month off that account. So that means that investment will be paid for in 2 months, and then everything after that is profit. And then you have people like us who, I have a Town Hall 11, 12, and 13 that are all max, and then I have a max Town Hall 16. I have a Town Hall 14 and Town Hall 15, but they're not max. And let's say that tomorrow we are invited to this competition that's all max Town Hall 14s. And in order to be competitive, you have to have a max Town Hall 14. And I really, really want to play in this Town Hall 14 tournament. Well, I can go to the Supercell website and buy a max Town Hall 14 for $400. And maybe I have the money to be able to do something like that. And it's worth the experience that I would gain from having that max Town Hall 14 to be able to compete in this tournament, for me to be willing to pay $400 to Supercell for this max Town Hall 14 to have it immediately.
It would have to be like 4,000.
I don't think it can be too prohibitively costly.
I think it should.
It probably should. If
Yeah,
you're if you're giving the time, like the time that a player puts into it, I
yeah.
agree, it would be that expensive.
Yeah,
But
it's weird. I'd feel weird if I could look in there and see in the shop like a Town Hall 15. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I'd feel really weird about that.
And then let's be clear, I don't think that Supercell will ever get
Yeah.
into the Town Hall resale business, but it is an answer to this problem. And I'm just curious what they're going to do, because essentially now they said, okay, it is against terms of service for you to have purchased accounts or bought it accounts or whatever, but we're just going to look the other way at least until November. And I'm curious what they're going to do after that. Like, are they going to reset and say, look, are they just going to do the ban hammer? Like, come down hard. If you have second accounts, which are against terms of service, let's be clear, it's wrong, quote unquote, to have accounts that you purchase online. If that's the case, will Supercell just come down hard and say, look, if we catch you with second accounts, and now that we know what to look for, and now that we know that we need to look, too bad, so sad. If you get caught with it, you are gone. And do you think that that's fair?
Well, maybe. Because for you with multiple accounts to go into different CWLs and play, not a problem. But
Because
if
I
they,
built up all those accounts myself.
yeah,
Hmm.
the other way, and maybe the solution is like you enforce that part of it, and you just say, hey, if you're using farmed or not, sorry, bot accounts to do it, that's no, we're gonna hunt you. Like, you will be hunted for it. To stop it, to try to prevent it, at least make it inconvenient, right?
Hmm.
Um, but that's kind of what I think would probably be better, and then encourage people to just farm up their other accounts if they want to do that.
So I'm going to propose something that's going to be extremely controversial.
Uh-oh.
I love it. So, are you prepared? Put your seat down.
I'm sitting down.
You're sitting down? Okay, listener, are you prepared? Because I know you're in on this conversation. And I love
Uh-oh,
getting
stand
feedback.
back.
Chewy always gives me his feedback, and Chewy,
Listener,
I
let's get
love
out of
it.
here.
I love your feedback, Chewy. Chewy's GCBC always gives us feedback too.
We're
So I
not
love
even listening
everybody.
to this. We're not
You're-
even.
So this is my proposed solution. Supercell should completely get out of esports altogether. I don't think that they should hold world championships. I don't think that they should hold any esports. Just get out of it. Let the community do their thing. Now, if they want to support the community by giving gems to the winner, which is what they do now, or by, I don't know, some other way, sending swag, I think that Supercell is, I, I don't know that they're the best at doing esports. And so I would almost rather go back to the days of 2014 and 2015 before Supercell was involved, because back in those days, and you were there, because House of L was
It's
very
just yesterday.
powerful in the leagues back then, right? Like House of L was a powerhouse back then. Like they competed at the highest levels. We had so much freaking fun doing that. And it did not matter one bit whether or not Supercell was involved. The community put it together. So is it cool that Supercell's put this, $1 million prize pool and they're offering it to the best teams? Yay, that's great. But honestly, I don't even watch it. Like, I don't watch Clash Worlds. I don't really watch streams. Every now and again, I'll pop in somewhere. But you know what's special is when Scotty 827 is in House of L, and House of L is going up against One High for the win, and Scotty 827 gets a 3-star. That is the best feeling in the world. Not whether or not Stars 3-starred some other pro player that I've never really heard of anyway at Clash Worlds, something that I'm probably not even going to watch, something that probably 95% or more of the player base doesn't watch either. So if that's the case, just get rid of esports altogether. At least Clash of Clans sponsored esports, directly hosted esports, just get rid of it. That's a very controversial opinion. What do you think of it?
I kind of like it.
Mhm.
Because here's what it actually kind of falls in line a little bit with what I've been thinking about since our last couple podcasts. Um, and that is, I think you're right. If Supercell sanctioned more tournaments and funded them, right? Like, okay, if you want to do a Clash tournament as part of whatever, you have to become you know, you can partner with us to do the tournament, and you have to meet these guidelines and then here are the rules, and we'll give you. It'd be better to have more tournaments for more players with
Yes.
more prizes
Yes.
than it would be to have one tournament
Yes.
for fewer. Um,
That's great. Like, that's a great point. Because l- let's be clear, like it's probably less than 100 players, probably less than 100 players who really benefit from the current system, that make any money, player managers, and those, for those 100 players and managers and teams, this is what I'm presenting is a worse option. Like, it will be worse for them because they will essentially make considerably less money if Supercell decides not to host esports any longer. But for the overall player base, in my opinion, it would be a lot more fun and a lot more exciting. And also, additionally, if Supercell gets out of it, they don't have to play around with, oh, whether or not we need to nerf Root Riders, or oh my gosh, like Super Archer Blimp is too strong, but we still have to include it because it's in our game. So if you're a community event, the community can say, you know what, we love you, Supercell, but Root Riders are way too OP. So in this tournament, you're not allowed to use Root Riders at all. At all. And then they can host their tournament and have a tournament winner, excluding the one troop that everybody's complaining about.
Yeah.
And Supercell doesn't have to say, and the reason that Supercell doesn't want to nerf Root Riders is because of the casual player, because the casual player's having fun with them. They're 3-starring a lot more than they used to, but the pro player or the player who's even decent is able to just triple everything with them. Well, in a tournament setting that's community run, they don't have well, we don't want people to look bad on our troop. The community's the one making the decision, so they can say, you know what, for this tournament, no Root Riders and no Sarch Blimps. Those are
Yeah.
way too OP. Supercell is refusing to nerf those, so we are just going to ban them from our tournament, and we're going to have fun. And that would be more fun for everybody, because also at the same time, it wouldn't be this time spam fest where pros are just spamming in dragons or spamming in Root Riders, and it's super easy for them to triple. And oh no, we have to start hard mode, so that way there's a difference between the pro player and the casual player. Like, just do away with all of that. I like hard mode. Like, let's keep hard mode in the game. But Supercell, get out of esports and let the community do it, and let the community do it how they want. And I think overall, everybody would be more happy. And I know that I, for example, and not that I'm representative of the entire Clash of Clans realm that's out there, but I, for example, would be much more involved with esports if I had a team, if I had a dog in the fight. Right now, I don't give a shit. Like, who Tribe Gaming? Oh, great, yay, go Tribe Gaming. Navi? Oh, great. Like, oh, they're so good, but I don't know them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't watch them play. Oh, Navi won this year. Oh, okay. Now, did you 3-star, Scotty? What did you use in your army to 3-star against, Big Boys 1, 2, 3 clan? Like, that's
Yeah.
what's more important to me than whatever's happening up here in the professional realm.
I think going along with that, it might be able, if you did it that way, more tournaments, sanction, like, and I mean, like, you're partnered with Supercell, and like,
Yeah,
like
they
it's
could do
not
that.
just these, not just like these elite communities running them, right? Like, with gatekeep, super hard gatekeeping, um, but a wider range of, um, I think the pros would actually benefit more from that too.
Why do
If
you
you,
say that?
well, because if you're only getting exposure a couple times a year, right? It's kind of, think about it like, you know, um, football or baseball, even, you got a once a week versus a couple times a week sport, so it's
Mm,
like, if they had more exposure and attacks in high level tournaments throughout the year, they're participating in more tournaments, there's more YouTube revenue, there's more news, there's more following, there's more drama to the story, like,
right,
they didn't do
right,
good
yeah,
this week, they didn't do good last month, and this month, there's this tournament and that tournament, and these people entered that one. And I think just the um the whole economy around that kind of bustles, like, you've got just more people competing. Oh, there's a surprise person in this
yes.
tournament, that, or surprise clan that won this one, and it's not like you're locked in for a whole year on this worlds kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said, but I think the elite of the elite would do worse. I think from a monetary standpoint. And I think what we would effectively see is if Supercell came down hard on this second, third, fourth account, and banned anybody who was found, with those extra accounts. So therefore, a lot of these high level pros are left with one account, and you took away the Clash of Clans esports scene as it is with Supercell and a World Championships. I think that you would see the highest level players quit and go to another game, just because there would be no money in it at that point. I mean, you'd have a little money because, if you win the Global Clash Cup, your team will win $1,000. Like, yay!
Yeah.
So for somebody like me and you, let's say that me and you are on a team, like, that would be amazing. Like, I don't care about the $200 that I'm going to split with the other four players. Like, woo, I got $200. But for a high level pro player, like they're going to need a lot more than $200, which comes down to the reason why they have these second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh accounts is because they're trying to make money off of this professional scene and off of being good at this game that they play.
And if there's more opportunity to make money in different spots, then you don't have to, like, cut the corners as much.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is. I'm
And honestly, with all of the drama that's been happening with Supercell recently, I could honestly easily see them just being like, "Fuck it, we're not doing esports anymore." Like, I can see them doing that after this year.
we're
I don't know that
finding
they will, but
yeah. Well, the thing is there's more tools now, like AI and things that are gonna be able to, like, really help with those accounts,
mhm,
hacking and farming and botting, and I just, like I went to that modding place when I heard the stuff, and that was a bad time,
yeah,
where,
it
like,
was.
war
Yeah,
was polluted, and it just was a lot of, ego, like, talking down, like, elitism kinda stuff, and that was the first thing that came into my mind when I heard that, so I was just really glad that it was not, like, modded they're
right.
modding to beat or something like
Yeah,
that because
yeah,
that would
very
have
different.
really ruined my perspective of things, but, uh,
Yeah, I mean, and sure, it's against terms of service.
who reads that chat
So,
anyways?
I mean, realistically, someone could have stolen those accounts and is reselling them. In that instance, obviously, like that's I mean, that's obviously an issue. But like with the selling of botted accounts, that's almost a victimless crime. Almost, because there is one victim, and that's Supercell. Like Supercell's not making the money that they could have if a person had actually, raised those accounts on their own. But
And it devalues our accounts.
yeah, true. But that's only if we're going to sell our accounts. If we're never going to sell our accounts, then technically we'll never realize that value,
Yeah. It
the
would be
lower
really
value that it would be.
yeah. When are you making the jump to 15 as Boimler?
So I'm going to be pressing the button. I had to count the days. It's 13 and a half days of upgrading. So I think I was going to do it on the 18th is when I have to press the button, which what's today? Today is the 14th. So I have 4 days. And then I haven't checked. I have to press the button on my Town Hall 15 to go to Town Hall 16 as well. So I'm gonna have to press the button on that at the same time.
Wow.
So super exciting. And then I have a Town Hall 13 that I've been bringing up that I'm going to be pressing the button to bring that up to Town Hall 14. So at that point, I will have 11, 12, 13 all max, 14, 15, and two 16s at that point, which is kind of where I want to be. And I just got to finish off those town hall levels in order to
Jesus.
have a max town hall at each level. That's years of playing though.
Yeah. Are you feeling that, like, that time reduction? Like, from the update that's a couple months ago or a month ago?
I guess like I see it on paper, but I mean I just like I farm, like I go in, I do my attacks, I look what I need to upgrade, I upgrade it. Like
Oh,
I don't notice it from the standpoint of, I've been scanning the list and Archer Towers were 10 days. And then now all of a sudden they're 3 days. And like I that's a huge influence on my life. Like it doesn't really, it's just I'll probably get done faster. Like,
yeah.
but as far as affecting me, like it doesn't really affect me much other than it just means that I'm gonna get done faster, which is nice.
Going up to
But
15, looking at the upgrade times, they're less than I was doing at 14.
yeah, that's crazy. But it's crazy nice too.
Yeah, yeah, and it makes me think, wow, like, I mean, I can really see progression fast, like, with especially once the hero event is done when I'm not doing 4 heroes
Yep.
at the same
Yep.
time.
But you're still gonna be, if you just went to Town Hall 15 and you're a baby Town Hall 15, I would say that Town Hall 15 is probably gonna take you 5 months? I mean, I don't know. You can look. If you go on the Clash Ninja website, you can look and see how long it takes to upgrade from start to finish a Town Hall 15. And I would say it's 6 months or more to max out the Town Hall 15, and then Town Hall 16 is probably the same.
Yeah.
So,
I think
from
by
where you are
Christmas,
now,
I'll probably end up
maybe you could be
going.
close, especially if you're buying the gold pass, if you're
Yeah.
using magic items super efficiently, if you're buying deals every now and again as they pop up in the cash shop, you might be able to get close by Christmas.
Yeah. I'm
Let's see.
excited.
We're gonna keep doing the podcast that long?
Well, I'm sure there's been so much to talk about
We
every week. It's like, and I can't even
we've had
believe how
so much
fast
fun
the
doing
week.
it.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I've been all week long. My head has just been spinning, especially since ever since talking to Ghost Night, kind of getting just like stepping out of that time machine and seeing what the world has developed into has been just mind blowing.
Well,
And
and so go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, and
I've
just
been
kind of
cutting you off.
thinking about like, where it was when I left and then when I came back, like it's just wild to me. And so it's just kind of really pops. It just made me think about a lot of different things for sure.
So, one of the things that I really like about what you are doing and have done is that you're maxing your first account, and this kinda goes back to the whole maxing versus strategic rushing argument, but I think you are a perfect example of why possibly, I'm not saying this definitively, but possibly maxing a player's first account might be a better choice because, for example, you took the time to learn Super Bowlers. Now that you've moved on, and that was at Town Hall 13 and 14, right? Now that you're moving on to Town Hall 15, you're using a different army. So you're not using Super Bowlers. You're going to be using Root Riders, or maybe you're going to start using Dragons, but you always have Super Bowlers and that army comp in your back pocket. And you've learned that strategy. So it's not you rushing up to the top town hall level and only learning whatever is the best strategy at that time, but you're learning different strategies on your way up. So that way you're a more rounded player whenever you do reach the top. That's a bit controversial to say, but
Well,
I like the way that you're doing it.
I think it leans into like just more practice too, right? Like if
That
you're
too,
taking the time.
and that's 100% right. Yep, that's 100% right.
Yeah, but in it, I do think like with the chain being able to, I don't know if it gives me something different, but it is crazy how adaptable you also have to be now at the game than before with things that are changing, new troops, different equipment. Um,
Mhm.
so I think more practice even in that is just a really good um thing. But I'm really gonna buckle in on maxing it out and really kind of focus on the base because that's the one thing now. After talking to Ghost Knight, and I know we've talked about this, but the need for like defensive troops or the base part of it, right?
Mhm.
Of playing defense, and so with the Town Hall 15, I thought I'm just straight offense right away just because of the hero stuff, but I've got everything ready and my army camps going up, you know, already. But then as soon as that, I'm gonna hit it really hard and try to just level from the bottom up. I mean, I'll get my monolith and that kind of stuff, but just I'm really starting to see the need for a really strong base to be more competitive.
So Supercell has said that they're going to start introducing new town halls every 12 months. So if you have a goal of finishing and being able to at least be close to maxing out Town Hall 16 by Christmas, well, Town Hall 16 was introduced like first week of December last year. That means that they're going to be coming out with Town Hall 17 in December of this year, which is right around the timeline of when you're going to be maxing it out anyway. So that means you'll be able to go up to Town Hall 17 with the rest of us.
To Town
Interesting to
Hall
think about.
17?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I don't really like the look of Town Hall 16. I'm
You're gonna
just gonna
stay at town hall
jump.
15
No, I'll
and then
just
jump
jump.
to 17?
I think so. I don't like the gold walls either, so I'm just skipping them. I'm
That
just
works.
I'm just going straight up after from there. I've already
You
started. I'm
you
like,
just have to make sure that you have enough gold or elixir to upgrade 2 levels at a time,
I
right? So
know.
that way you never have to put up with him.
Yep. And I've started doing that. I'm like, and they look really good. The next level looks really good with the other walls, so I'm just gonna do it like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's really funny.
well, I did have a question for you. I was thinking about this week.
Uh-oh.
No, it's not about
Should I be scared?
no. So, we were talking to Ghost Knight, right? And he talked about going pro.
Mhm.
And I didn't really follow up very much with him, but like I'm thinking about, what if I was a listener and even like if I'm out there and I'm in America and I'm part of a clan, how is it that I would go from 0 to hero? Like
So
what did he have to do to get to pro?
so you would have to join a team that was playing in high level esports. So Ghost Knight did it because he joined the Crystal to Join clan, and in that clan, there are several players who are already quote unquote pro. Like they're already playing at the highest level against the best teams in Clash of Clans, and they asked him to join their team. So that's how he quote unquote went pro. So if let's say that you wanted to go pro, then you would essentially have to try out for, an esports team. So, I actually just moved to a different clan family.
Ooh.
I was with 12 Mutineers, and they're a great clan family. But unfortunately, I didn't really know anybody. I'd been there for 7 months, and so I wanted to try a different atmosphere. So I moved over. Actually, Ghost Knight talked about them. I was like, oh, maybe they're a good group. Maybe let me check them out. And since I don't really know anybody at 12 Mutineers, well, let's try this new group out to see if they would work out. And that's the Vista Ridge clan family. I don't know if you remember Ghost Knight talking about that.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
So I joined them. Lynn, super nice. She's the owner of the server. She runs all of the clans. She's been crazy friendly. Great, application process. We took a whole day. We're just talking back and forth about my clan experience, Clash experience, and I really appreciated that. I really appreciated that feedback, and not it
S
wasn't just who are you? Okay, you have a Town Hall 16 at Smacks. You're welcome in the clan. Like she asked me all kinds of questions before letting me in. Do you have something you wanted to ask?
Well, that's kinda what I was gonna ask was like, well, what kind of things? Like, were you like your town hall level, like who you are?
Yeah, so
Um,
she asked my Clash experience. So I in the 12 Mutineers clan family, they would have friendly wars a lot, and they would have Trojan wars every month, and they would have clan versus like inter clan family wars where one teams would be chosen for two sides, and we would go to one clan or the other clan. So because of that, like I hopped around for the last 7 months to probably 3 or 4 different clans, like just constantly. I go to one clan for a Trojan war, I go to another clan for a friendly war. I go to another clan for a 50v50 match. Like they have a 50-50 activity every single month. I jump into another clan for CWL. So there were like maybe 5 clans in my clan history where I was jumping around. So that was one of the questions she asked me. She's like, why do you have all these clans that you've been jumping around to for the past 7 months?
you
And so
dirty
I told her
slut.
that. I get around a lot. And she was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was just
Have you been
curious,
to a
like why you
doctor?
weren't. You're. I need to get a shot. Ow! That would hurt." So she was just like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And kind of more of like a get to know you thing too. Like, what's your
Like, yeah.
experience? Trying to figure out if I would be a good fit. Um. So anyway, the Vista Ridge clan family, like they have a pro team that they put together. So if I wanted to go pro, essentially what I'd have to do is I'm not in. Remember with 12 Mutineers, I said that they have like an A clan and a B clan, and I
Yeah.
was in the B clan for a while, and then I made the A clan. Well, I would essentially have to do the same thing with Vista Ridge. Is I'm in the B clan right now, so I'm in Vista Ridge 2, and if I wanted to move up, I would have to prove that I was good enough to move up to the Vista Ridge 1 clan, and then from there, like, they're only their top 5 or 6 players are actually playing esports. So in Vista Ridge 1, like, I would have to prove that I was good enough to be part of that 5 or 6 player esports team. So it would be a process. So that's one way that you can do it. Another way is there are Discord servers that you can go, and there are recruiters, and you can contact these recruiters, and then you can go to their clans and they will do FCs with you, and you can essentially try out for their esports team. And so you're probably not going to get on a high level esports team by doing it that way, but you can get a start by doing it that way. And then if you do well in esports, then you're going to get noticed, and then you may have a higher level esports team that's like, hey, Scotty 827, we noticed that you have a 79% hit rate in all of these, professional matches. Would you be interested in coming over to join our team? And you would be like, "Why, yes, I am interested in being pro, and I'm interested in joining up for your team." So that's another way that you could go pro, quote unquote, if that's something that you wanted to do.
And how would a clan go pro?
So clans don't go pro necessarily. So clans will send esports teams that have their clan's name on it to esports matches. So most clans now, what they do, so like if we had House of L, and if House of L had a professional esports team, House of L would stay where it was, but we would likely have a second clan, that was named HOE Esports, for example, or
Yeah.
HOE Badasses. Like, obviously, so I wouldn't let that be the name, but there would be another clan that we would set up, and 5 or 6 of us that are on this esports team, or however many are on the roster, would leave House of L and go to this other clan to do all of our esports matches. That's typically how it's done. So the clan doesn't go pro, but a player group within the clan goes pro and takes the name of the clan with them.
And so these esports matches are only 5 people?
Most of them are 5v5. Yeah. So for instance, in the Clash Worlds, I know I just talked about doing away with it, but they have done a good job at at setting
But
everything up. You have stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. In stage 1, which is hundreds of clans, right? You can have 6 people on your roster. So
oh, yeah, okay,
there
I
are
remember
only
that.
6 people that can play, and it has to be one of those 6. And then when you move to stage 2, Ghost Knight was saying that that number goes down to 5. So literally, you sign up 5 people, and only those 5 people can play in that match, and can play for stage 1 and stage 2 and stage 3. So that's kinda how that works.
Okay, alright. It's all coming together.
Mhm. Well, is House of L ready to, start the HOE Badasses esports team?
Well, maybe. I think it's kinda interesting, like, before it was kind of finding those friendly match but it's just got more, of a system established.
Yeah, it's more organized
Um,
now than it was
yeah,
back then.
yeah, that's really interesting as we level up and see what
Yep. And there are even Discord servers that are set up to where, let's say me, you, Chewy, D-Max, and Max, right? All
yeah.
of us, let's say we have Town Hall 16s, and we go to the HOE Badass Esports clan, and we go on Discord, and you can find matches just to practice, on Friday night. Hey,
Oh,
we have,
friendly?
whatever, and will you do an FW, friendly war? And, the Bada Bing esports team, responds to our request for a match. It says, "All right, we'll match. This is our clan tag. Send the request in 5 minutes. 30-minute war or 20-minute war. 5v5 kind of a thing." We're like, okay, so we agree to that. We send them the FW request. They accept, and then for the next 20 minutes, we just do a friendly war, us versus them.
And
And then we have a winner, and then we go back to the Discord server looking for another team to play.
and is it always, like, max 16s, or is it
I mean, typically it's max 16s like that, because that's the most common town hall that will do something like that. But I imagine you could find like all. I don't imagine it's super common, but if you like had all Town Hall 15s and you wanted to try to find another esports team of all Town Hall 15s, you could probably find it there. It just would be more difficult to find.
That's cool. I think it'd be cool to do like a tournament or something where it's like 5 like 5 16s, 5 15s, 5 14s, or
Oh, that's
these kind of different um setups where you could kind of have a clan that's mixed but play
mhm.
these different kind of matches. Um and I was wondering like what's out there for that. Like do they have mixed tournaments? Where you could do it's like 20v20 tournaments where,
Yep.
or 10 15s, 10 16s, that kind of stuff.
Yep. So that's the old school way of doing tournaments. So those are called mixed BDs or mixed breakdowns. And typically you'll have, 10 Town Hall 16s, maybe 5 Town Hall 15s, 5 14s, and 5 13s.
Ooh,
And it's a well, what was that? That was so it's a 25v25 match. Those aren't near as common as they used to be. That's what House of L participated in back in the day, and
yeah,
those are still run, but typically those are only run by community tournaments like Champions War League, which is I think maybe No Dip League was something too that House of L did. Um, but those are still out there and available. You just have to enter your clan
yeah.
in order to do those. But doing that is just essentially a community event. You're not necessarily take going pro with your clan by doing that because none of that is sponsored by Supercell or held by the Supercell esports team. That's just
Yeah.
held by community event organizers.
Cool. That'd be I just think it'd be kind of fun as you get to know like this stuff like, wow, yeah, they're with the friendly wars, I haven't really participated in that at all. And so it's
Yeah.
like, um, maybe there are ways to do more events and things like that too. So it's a
Yeah, we
big
could get
wide
involved.
world.
If you wanted, so the ideal with something like that is to have a max account at that town hall level. So, and I know that we're all over the place in House of L. Like we have
Yeah.
people that are mid town hall 15 and, mid town hall 14 or, a little bit rush town hall 16. Like we're just all over the place. The key would be to have max accounts at the town hall levels that you're going to compete at.
Or just see what the hell happens.
Or you could do that too. There's no rules. Like you can
Yeah.
compete with a mid-level Town Hall 14. It's just going to be easier for your opponent to three-star you, essentially.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about some of those matches in the past. It was like we would get paired up and we would have the clan very much like it is right now. And we'd be going against these max bases or mostly max bases and we would
Hmm.
still pull it out sometimes. It was always just an epic struggle. Um
Yeah. Remember, I said the name was House of L, badass esports team,
Badass
right?
esports. I like it. I
That's it.
like it. Well, shout outs this week.
I already shout out Chewy, but I want to shout him out again because he's just amazing. I appreciate he comments on all my YouTube videos. I very much appreciate it. He has some great ideas. He complimented me on my shirt that I most recently wore in my most recent video, or not my most recent video. I think it was a video before that. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it says "Dad" on it, and the A is actually the Star Trek symbol.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. But anyway, he complimented me on that. That made me feel good. So thank you very much, Chewy. I appreciate that.
Shout out to Chewy and to you for all the hard work during CWL, moving people around. Um, Shout out to
Masters
Angry
too.
Wookiees. Yeah,
Yep.
Masters too.
Yep.
Uh, Shout out to House of L. I know we got some new people this week. Uh, and I'll give them all shout outs this next upcoming thing. It's just been a whirlwind as I've been honestly all week. These past 2 weeks, ever since the Ghost Night interview, has just been just
So much to
mind
think about.
blowing. Yeah,
Yep.
just so mind blowing. It kind of like, wow, really flips the just to see it have all developed, over the time too.
Hmm.
It's just mind blowing. Shout out to you, the listener. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody's staying cool this summer in the hero event. Might as well just take some time off your heroes. I need the DE. So
This is true.
feel good
It's
about
true.
that. Well, get a hold of us at clashofclanspodcast@gmail.com, or text or call 320-216-2073. That's 320-216-2073. You can follow Tip at the Clash on Clash Tips on
No,
YouTube.
it's just the tip on YouTube.
Just the Tip on YouTube. The Clash Tips podcast. And you can find us in the House of L as well in game. So until next time, everybody, keep it clashy.
Keep it clashy.
Skilly beep boop, skilly